Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at ICE, which is us deploying and hacking into a Windows machine, exploiting a very poorly secure media server. So let's get started. I've already started the machine and we have the target IP address. Connect. I have done this already, so we can answer correct. We can also complete all of these. We got all of these done. Let's move to task number 1. No, what? Task number 2. So we're gonna use nmap, deploy the machine. This may take up to 3 minutes to start. Complete. Launch a scan against our target machine. I recommended using SendScan. SendScan set to scan all ports on the machine. The scan command will be provided as a hint. However, it's recommended to complete the room nmap prior to this. Complete. Once the scan completes, we'll see a number of interesting ports open on this machine. Okay, so let's get started. I've already saved the IP address and do all that good stuff, and I've already run the nmap scan, and this is the flag that I use. I use the A flag, the T4, SV, PN, and then I save the result in a text file. So let's take a look at the result. So we have a bunch of port open. We have 445, 139, 135. We have 339. We have 5357. We have 8000. We do have a bunch of ports. So let's take a look at the first question. Once the scan complete, I've already read that. One of the more interesting ports that is open is Microsoft Remote Desktop. What port is this on? This should be 3389, which is the standard port for this. What service did nmap identify as running on port 8000? Let's take a look. So we have this over here. So for 8000 we have HTTP halt. The first word of this service is this. Service is not, it did not, the service is not here. So for port 8000. All right, let's move on. What does nmap identify as the host machine? We get this answer over here, which is dark PC. We can put that down, dark PC. So let me quickly run another nmap scan real quick to get this. Let's do -p 8000 real quick and see what do we have. Actually, let me cancel that. Let me do SST. Let's see what do we have. Okay, while this is running, let's move forward with our question. Let's go to gain access. Exploit the target vulnerable service to gain a foothold. Now that we have, oops, let's go back to our scan. Let's see. This is a Windows 7, so it's professional. The computer name, work group. Okay, so let's keep going. Let me see, still running. You know what? Let me cancel this one out too. Let me try something. Let me just do this. No, let's do the same thing for port. Okay, let's do a little bit of research into one of the wider service. Identify as Icecast as well. Well, at least this version running on our target is heavily flawed and has a high level vulnerability with a score of 7.4 or 7.5. I repeat it in reverse depending on whether you view where you view it. Okay, so it's gonna be Icecast because this is telling us that's what the service is, but I want to run a scan to actually see it. To actually see the scan. This is also not doing any service. I'm not sure. You know what? Since it's the service that's missing, let's do this. I'm not sure why it's not. No, let's see. I don't know. This is the first time this has happened, to be honest. But we receive our answer from gain access. This should be Icecast, but I really wanted the scan to show it, but I guess not. You know what? Let me run the previous scan again. This time we're not gonna save it. We're gonna let this run. Let me open another tab so we can focus on the rest of the question. Okay. So let's visit this. If we check this one out, it automatically brings us to Icecast. I don't know why, I don't know how, but for some reason it automatically brings us to Icecast, which is good for us. So the impact score will be 6.4, which is our answer. 6.4. What is the CVE number for this vulnerability? This will be in the format of CVE. I think it's 2024 1561. Yes, 2004. And it's gonna be 1561. Now that we have found our vulnerability, let's find our exploit for this section of the room. we'll use the Metasploit module associated with this exploit. Let's go ahead and start Metasploit. Let me make this a bit bigger, maybe too big. MSF console. Let's check on the skin. Nothing yet. Okay, so let's see what do we have to do. After Metasploit I started, let's search for our target exploit using the command search Icecast. One thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this is that this type of CTF room or room to begin with is guided, meaning like they give us exactly what do we have to do, versus other type of CTF where they just sometimes tell us to just find the user flag or the root flag. So this one kind of guided because everything that we have to do is in the room already. We just have to follow the instruction. Okay, let's double check. Nothing. Okay, let's keep it moving. So let's do search Icecast. So we only have one module. Let me clear the screen so we can start at the bottom. Let me do it again. So we have two ways of choosing this module. We can either type the whole name, which will be exploit windows http icecast _ header, or we can just use the number 0. So I'm just gonna do use 0. Perfect. So this is our exploit. Let's see. So this is exploit. Let's copy this. Wait. Let me see if the search Icecast. What is the full path starting with exploit? Oh, starting with exploit. Then it's probably this way. Starting with exploit. Oh, I see. Alright, so let me make this a little bit smaller. Starting with exploit, then we're gonna do exploit. We're gonna do Windows. We're gonna do oops. We're gonna do Windows http / and then Icecast header. So let's keep it moving. Let's click complete. Let's go ahead and select this module. Type either the command use Icecast or use 0. That's what I did. I choose the use 0 command. Let's do complete. Following selecting our module, we now have to check what option we have to set. For that, we can do show options. So for this one, we have only one module to set, which is the host, which is our target IP address. Everything else has already been set for us. So we just have to type set our host and then the IP address of the target machine, which is this. Paste, enter. Now if we do show options again, we can see now everything is complete with the target IP address, the OR port, which is the 8000 port that we discovered before. lhost is our listening IP address, which would be the IP address of this TryHackMe machine, and then the port, which is 4444. Let's take another look. Let's see, did we have something? Let's see if we have a different option now. Did we get? Nope, it's still showing the same. I don't know why the Icecast is not showing though, but see, I'm just gonna try one more. I'm just gonna try one more thing, and then after that I'm just gonna drop it. Let's do sv -t. Okay, let me take out the SV. Let me do a dash A instead. Let me do port 8000. Oh, the IP address is not specified. Okay, let's do that. Okay, well, this is gonna be the last try, because if not, then I'm not gonna make this whole video about me trying to find the service number. Not the service number, the service name that is running on that port. Actually, let me visit the IP address to see what do I get. Actually, maybe nothing. Okay, well, nada. So we can keep moving forward. You know what? Let me try one more thing. Sometimes the connection usually freeze in the middle of me doing this. Let me ping the IP address to see if I can ping it. Maybe that's, well, I can ping it, so that's not the issue. So let me close this tab. Okay, let's move forward. The show option, the option that was missing was the host. First, let's check that the L host option is set to our tune0 IP address. Yes, it did. So this is this IP address. We can double check that by running IPA, and then what is our IP address? This is our IP address. Here it doesn't list it as tunnel 0. That's because I'm using TryHackMe box, and this is the normal connection for them. But if I was using my own machine and I was using the VPN to connect to them, it will have listed as tunnel 0 or tune 0 as the name, because this one is listed as ins 5, which is the IP address that we need to connect to, which we can see it. Where can we see it? We can see it somewhere. Yeah, we can see it here. Over here, 10.2.01.76.173. Okay, so now that everything is set, let's exploit. Let's type exploit. Perfect. Now we have a Metasploit shell. That's when we actually have we have a foothold into our target machine. Now we can run a couple of things. We can type ps to view processes that is running on the target machine. As you can see, most of them are being run by dog PC. We can do, can I do sysinfo? Yes, I can do sysinfo. This is the computer name. This is the architecture. Log on user number 2. We have the build of the machine. So let's get to escalate. Task number 4. Whoop, we gain a foothold into our victim machine. What is the name of the shell that we have now? The shell name that we have is a Metasploit shell. We can type that Metasploit. What user was running that Icecast process, which is this one. This is the one that we're looking for. As you can see, the user is running Icecast2.exe. He's also running SLUI. is also running the task host.exe, explorer.exe, but this is the one that we are interested in, is this one. So the what was, so that will be doc. We don't need the PC. We don't need the PC part because this is the one that we're looking for, the user. This is the computer name, and then after the backward slash, that is the user. That is the username. So next is what build of Windows is the system. We can get that information here. That is 7601. Now that we know some of the finer detail of the system we are working with, let's start escalating our privilege. First, what is the architecture of the process we are running? That will be x86. Is that X? Oh, x64. Yeah, I was looking at this, but this is the name of the folder, which means both 32 file and 64-bit file can be saved in here. That's what the 86 is. Because in Windows, I think we have two type of program file. One is x86 and one that just regular. Okay, well, let's move on. Now that we know the architecture of the process, let's perform some further recon. While this doesn't work the best on x64 machine, let's now run the following command: run exploit. Okay, so let's do. I'm surprised that we're running this right. Let's do one post multi recon. You can press tab, it will auto complete the command for us. So let's press enter. This will give us a list of exploit that we can run to further escalate our privilege into the system. So let it run fully. Let's check on the nmap again to see if we got anything new. If not, I'm just gonna put it to rest because we got our answer. Yeah, the service flag is not running because it's not letting us know any of the service. Well, some of them is letting us know the service that are running on the machine. Well, that was unfortunate that we couldn't get that answer from the nmap. Hopefully you guys, if you guys are doing the same machine, when you run it, you guys will have better luck. Okay, so I can close this. I'm no longer gonna try to get the service because we have our answer from the following question. So let me make this a bit smaller so we can see much better. Let me make this bigger, and then let me make this so we two. Okay, perfect. So this is great. So all of these are things or exploit that we can run to further escalate our privilege into the machine. So what is the question? Running the local exploit suggester will return quite a few results for potential escalation exploit. What is the full path? Starting with exploit for the first return exploit. Is it this one? for the first return. But what, let me see. But that's not correct. What did he say for the first return exploit? Which, that's not what we're looking for actually. Well, let's try this. Should be this. Yeah, I don't know why it's the question say for the first return exploit. Maybe it was not expecting us to get this, the first one, or maybe it was expecting number 2 to be number 1. Well, who knows. So now that we have our exploit, which is exploit Windows local bypass account event viewer. I think this stands for event viewer. The target IP to be vulnerable. Okay, now that we have an exploit in mind for elevating our privilege, let's background our current session. We can do that with Control Z. We can do yes. And then we can view our session with sessions. That's the, if we do sessions, so this is the session that we just background. We can view them, and then to get back into them we can just type sessions -I believe, and then the session number, which is 1. So now let's take note of what session number. Well, we only have one session, so that's session 1. In this case, we can list all of our active session using the command session, which I just show you guys. Go ahead and select our previously found local exploit for use using the command use. So now we can take this, copy, let's do use, paste, enter. Now if we do show options, we should have all the options to set. One that has not been set yet is the session option, which will be session 1. Let's do complete. We just did that. Complete. Local exploit require a session to be selected. Sometime we can just verify with the command show options. Set this now using the command set session number. So we can do set, is it sessions or session? Session. All right, session 1. Oops, no session. We can double check that with doing show options again. Now 1 is selected, which is our background session. Now that we have set our session number, further option will be revealed in the show options menu. We'll have to set one more as our listener IP isn't correct. Actually, it is correct. This is the tune, well, not the tune, but you know, the ins 5. So for whoever is using the VPN to connect, so you might have to set it by typing set lhost to the IP address or the actual IP address. So mine, because I'm using the TryHackMe box, everything is already set for me. So which will be lhost. That is the option that need to set if it's not correct on your side. And we can do IP address to verify me. I use IPA. We can do the same thing here to check. We have a couple of ways to check this one. We also have if config. It also give us a very nice organized way to view everything, which is this. This is for me. For you guys, if you're using the tunnel, it will be tune 0. So let's move forward. After we have set this last option, we can now run our privilege escalation exploit. So now let's go back to our, now we can do run, or we can type exploit. Both of them will do the same thing. We have to exploit. We should get another Metasploit session again, this time with evaluate privilege. So perfect. So we can verify that with also running PS. If we do PS, we can also see that we are root in the system, because now we can see NC authority. That is usually a pretty good sign that we are admin into the system. And we can also do sysinfo. No, not sysinfo. I think get system. I think, is it get system? Is it get sys? Let's do help. There should be a command for that. Or get system. Attempt to have a privilege. Well, maybe we're not there yet. Oh, we need to be running as NC authority, because right now we're still running we're still dark. So for that, we need to migrate into a session, no, into a process. So if I let me clear this. Oh, I cannot clear. So if I do PS again, okay. We can verify we have oh, it was get priv, not get system. I was typing the wrong command. Get previous, get privs. So the one that we going to use is take ownership. That would allow us to take ownership of file. So the question asks us, we can now verify that we have expanded permission using the command get priv. What permission listed allow us to take ownership of file? This will allow us to take ownership, because it's actually, that's the name, set to take ownership. Copy, paste, submit. Okay, so now let's move to looting. Prior to further action, we need to move to a process that actually has the permission that we need to interact with the LSAS service, the service responsible for authentication within Windows. First, let's list the processes using the command PS. I've done that before, which is PS. We have a lot of them. Note, we can see process being run by NC authority system, as we have escalated our permission, even though our process doesn't. So now, in order to interact with LSAS, we need to be living in a process that is the same architecture as the LSAS service. In a process that has the same permission as LSAS is the sprint spooler. For sprint spooler, that is usually the, where are you? This one. This is the sprint spooler. The spool SV. So that is what we need to migrate into. So we can type that. It's gonna be spool SV dot exe. Migrate to this process now using the command migrate and the process name. So we can do migrate dash capital M and then S spool sv.exe. Let me make sure that correct. Spool sv.exe. Let me make sure the command is correct. Migrate dash capital N. Okay. Perfect. Now we have migrated into that process. So now we can do, let's check what user we are now. with the command get UID what user is listed. That should be etc authority system, because that's what it should be, get UID. So now we no longer doc as the username, now we are admin NC authority. We can copy this because this is our answer. Submit. Now that we have made our way to full administrator permission, we will set our site on looting. Mimikaz is rather a famous password dumping tools that is incredibly useful. Loaded now using the command load kiwi. We can do kiwi. Oh, load kiwi. So now if we type help, we should have more help section, but one that is specific to the kiwi commands. So this is what we just load into our Metasploit. So let's do complete. Which command allow us to retrieve our credential? That will be creds all, as is the name. Run this command now, so we can do creds underscore all. So this is the password for everyone on the system. We have this is the password for user dark. We're not gonna try to crack the admin password because that's not part of this video. Let me see, run this command now. What is dark password? That is password 01 exclamation point. So now we could use RDP to log in as dark into the system because we have RDP is running, but that is outside of the scope of this exercise. We will have to run RDP login as the user, but okay, let's keep it moving. Before we start our post-exploitation, let's revisit the help menu one last time. In the Metasploit shell, we'll answer the following question: which command allow us to dump all password hash? So if we scroll up, that will be the hash dump command, because the description is dump the contents of the SAM database. That's what we're looking for. While more useful when interacting with the machine being used, what command allow us to watch the remote user desktop in real time? So if we scroll up, we're looking for anything with real time in it. So this is what we want. Screen share. One day I will do something like that. I will use Metasploit on my own system, so I can actually try some of this command live to see what they actually do. So this will be the screen share. How about if we wanted to record from a microphone? That will be record mic, because that's what the name is, and the description state record audio from the default microphone. So paste. To compliance forensic effort, we can modify timestamp or file. What command allows us to do this? Don't ever do this on a pen test unless you're explicitly allowed to do so. This is not beneficial to the defending team as they try to break down the event of the pen tester after the fact. Forensic. Let's look for that. Wait, what? Wait, what is this? Allow us to modify timestamp. Okay, we're looking for timestamp. We have so many. Timestamp. Where are you? This is taking time. Play, evaluate, sound. Is this? Let me try this one. Okay, so this is our command: manipulate file images attributes. Mimikaz allow us to create what call a golden ticket, allow us to authenticate anywhere with ease. What command allow us to do this? We're looking for golden ticket and the name. Golden ticket is usually associated with Kerberos. I'm pretty sure there's a search command in here, but I don't know what that is. So we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is to actually go through all of these. Okay, golden ticket. Actually, the name actually is golden ticket. So one last thing to note, as we have the password for the user doc, we can now authenticate to the machine and access it via a remote desktop. As this is a workstation, we'll likely kick whatever user is signed on it off if we connect to it. However, it's always interesting to remote into machine and view them as the user do. If this hasn't already been enabled, we can enable it via following Metasploit by run post windows manage enable RDP. Let's give this a go. I think we are done, but we can try this and see what's gonna happen before we finish. Manage enable. Oh, do we have an ODP here that we can just poof? We probably have an ODP command that we can ODP into the machine from here, but okay, I see. Well, we don't have any RDP command, so we probably would have to use an RDP. We probably would have to use an RDP program to actually RDP into this. So let's do complete. Everything is complete. So extra credit is, as you advance in your pen testing skills, you will be faced eventually with exploitation without the usage of Metasploit. Provided above is the link to one of the exploits found on ExploitDB for hijacking Icecast for remote code execution. While not required by the group, it is recommended to attempt exploitation via the provided code or via another similar exploit to further hone your skills. Not today, not today. So let's do continue. Let's do close. Let's go back. Okay, let me quickly exit out. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. Let me quickly see this application. Oop. Let's do this. Well, oh, I need to be suited for this. That's interesting. Unlock. Okay, I was gonna try to ODP into the machine, but it. Oh. Oh, well, let's still give it a try. Let's do connect. Yes. The username is dark. Password is, I think we have the password somewhere here. Password 01. I think that was the password. Looting. That was the password. Copy. Paste. Okay. Maybe because I don't have the password, that's why it's not allowing me to log in. Well, I try. Okay. Maybe not hard enough. Okay, guys. So, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I mentioned before, this is a guided CTF type room, so everything was provided for us. We just had to follow the guide that was provided to us. So until next time, guys, bye bye.